let's talk a little bit about these veins and kind of what they look like. Um, so that stuff is all great and useful to know, this continual sort of world building. But I need to define these veins particularly. So let's start a new heading and call it the vein in question. Okay. So whatever vein they end up going to, what kind of things do we need to know to kind of make it work, right? So like what is it like physically? What am I describing? Let me scroll this up a little bit. What am I describing to my players? What are they seeing, hearing, and feeling? Right? What is it like spiritually, magically? What rules does it break? In what ways is it unreal and therefore horrific to the players? Right? What are its dimensions? Is it large, small, focused, ambient? Right? How does the fountain's energy manifest through it? And how might that be harvested? Right? What is its stuff? Right? How do we get it? So this is a great question from Elarius, and I'm happy to answer questions and take little like asides because it's part of the fun, right? So regarding plane shift, the spell plane shift, let's take a look at it because Ramus has access to it now. So the plane shift spell. You and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle are transported to a different plane of existence. You can specify a target destination in general terms, such as the City of Brass on the elemental plane of fire, or the Palace of Dispater on the second level of the Nine Hells, and you appear in or near that destination. If you're trying to reach the City of Brass, for example, you might arrive in the Street of Steel before the Gate of Ashes, or looking at the city from across the Sea of Fire at the DM's discretion. Alternatively, you know the sigil sequence of a teleportation circle on another plane. This spell can take you to that circle. If the circle is too small to hold all the creatures, they appear in the closest unoccupied space next to the circle. You can use the spell to banish an unwilling creature to another plane. Choose a creature within your reach and make a melee spell attack against it. On a hit, the creature must make a charisma saving throw. If it fails, it is transported to a random location on the plane of existence you specify. A creature so transported must find its own way back to your current plane of existence. So, plane shift, how does it work? Plane shift is a cleric spell, but it's also a sorcerer spell, and a warlock spell, and a wizard spell, and a druid spell. And I think, going way, way back to some very early campaign setting stuff, I think it works differently for everyone depending on your source. Now remember, clerics get their magic by following the protocols of the Arcana, right? By doing what heaven demands. Their magic is permitted and granted to them by heaven, by a specific and intelligent bureaucracy that chooses whether or not to grant magic to people based on how good their ritual is. Sorcerers funnel the magic of the universe and the fountain itself through themselves, through force of will, through their blood, through their very existence. Right? They are themselves funnels for the fountain's energy. The warlock is like a cleric, But instead of ritual, it's subservience. Promise, suffering, servitude, personal stuff. Wizards are like clerics, but instead of praying to heaven, they use tricks. They use formula and protocol. They use feng shui. They use geomancy. They use mathematics, like celestial mathematics. And then druids call upon the primordial expression of the fountain, the rocks, the soil, the wind, the water. They pull on the threads that have already been made in the universe, right? So like very narrow differences, but I think the plane shift works differently depending on who you are. I think that a cleric, such as Ramus, can plane shift upstream, but not downstream into the court. I think that plane shift would be allowed to take them out of the court of the void, which means they might not need this vein at all. But I think it could take them out of the court of the void and back into the world. Actually, they will. Look what they need. We talked about this a little bit. They don't have that yet. He doesn't have the components. But it can take you out. I think plane shift will allow a cleric to travel. Primarily, the purpose of this spell is to move you between heaven and earth. It's a 7th level cleric spell. Like, of course it is. That's the point. Honored clerics may join the gods in heaven, right? And they may return to their plane by way of this magic. That is the point of this spell to them. I think if you're a warlock, you could probably move yourself between the world and wherever your patron is. You could be a warlock that serves heaven, right? A celestial warlock. You could be a warlock that serves one of the Sahir, right? So that is certainly an option. Now, we talked before about the dangers of traveling to heaven, right? Nothing about plane shift says you can survive in the sea of fire. The gods assume you are going to work that out. We know that mere mortals cannot bear the light of the fountain. Their flesh, their weak, fleshy shells would blow away, right? They're not meant for that. These shells, these flesh, they're meant so that we can survive the world. So probably Berg would be fine. But everyone else might evaporate. Yeah. Now, there are places within heaven that are like embassies, right? Embassies of the earth. And that, I think, is what the keys open, right? We haven't really talked about this. So, like veins, right? As above, so below. Like veins, there are, maybe we call them stairways, whatever, channels of ascension. These are safe ways to travel from earth to heaven. Now, here's the fucking thing about Ramus. Think about this, right? So Ramus is a crystallized spiritual physical core, creamy nougat center of pure void energy. His soul is a crystallized Mara bit, right? It's a Mara thing. His flesh protects that Mara thing from the ambient radiation of the universe, but also hides it, pretending to be a real soul. If, for example, Ramus were transplanted from wherever he is directly into heaven, the fountain would burn away his outer core, or his outer shell, leaving only his core, a seed of pure Mara energy in heaven. That would be very bad. if I were the Mara that created the Ramus Krill, right? This Mara super weapon, I would probably be really interested in Ramus going to heaven and having his physical flesh blown away. Because it would mean to me a direct tunnel has been drilled into heaven through which I can fucking slurp on the fountain's energy in its rawest form. I can vampirize the fountain itself. I can chug from the great keg of energy that is the fountain, right? And this is an ongoing theme, right? We've seen this happen before. The fountain is a source of power that we know other entities desire desperately, right? The Farang were drawn to the world by the fountain's light because they had extinguished their own universe, right? They are interplanar travelers. They're like locusts. They're literally consuming insects, and so they've come to this place to try to slurp up the fountain's energy, and heaven stopped them, right? The tower and their servants stopped them for now. So anyway, back to this specific set of veins. I'm going to draw on a role-playing game that I really like to help me kind of design this vein. We'll take bits and pieces from this game and we will apply them to our desires here. And the game in question is a fantastic OSR game called The Nightmares Underneath. Now, you might recognize The Nightmares Underneath because its author, Johnstone Metzger, is a fantastic creator of Dungeon World content, who made the Metamorphica, creates all kinds of really good shit. An excellent designer. Johnstone is fantastic. This game also, I use the economy stuff from this game when the players are spending a lot of money in a town. You will remember it from that. We used the economy stuff and the inflation rules back in the Shulin Valley, right? In Mongwat and environs. So I pulled this from that game. So in this game, in The Nightmares Underneath, a dungeon. I'll read how it works in this game, and then we'll go from there. Beyond the veil of sleep, beyond the stars, beyond time and space itself, lies a world full of nightmares, conscious and solid. Sound familiar? This nightmare realm has seen the waking world, tasted its fears, and it hungers for more. In order to invade the kingdom of dreams, that's the like real world setting. In order to invade the kingdom of dreams, the nightmare realms create self-contained spaces that act as bridges, allowing nightmare creatures to influence the human world and letting humans enter the nightmare world. Because these incursions are constrained spaces, they usually take the form of caves and tunnels and built environments like dungeons. So this is how it works in Johnstone's game. For us, it's not so much the bad place and the good place, and the bad place is putting holes in the good place. This is more about the winding thin of the permeable barrier between two equally fucked up locales. So, in this game, when you are creating a nightmare incursion, you build first the crown. And I like this. Every layer in a nightmare incursion is controlled and inhabited by a particular type of creature, a thing composed of nightmares to terrify the human soul. There might be a single nightmare creature of great power, but usually the layer is able to spawn an unlimited number of nightmares whose level is the same as that of the layer. You can use the nightmare creation procedures presented later in this chapter, choose a nightmare creature from the bestiary, or create your own method for creating these monsters. The crown represents the main risk and main threat to the PCs who venture into the layer, even though there might be other monsters. Again, this is a game about going into dungeons and fighting monsters. I'm going to call this the aspect of the vein. And I bet you can guess from what we pull these aspects. It's the fucking tarot. It's the tarot. It absolutely is that. So, aspect of the vein. So, this vein is aspected by heaven and reality, I guess, and the world, which is what we call reality. Heaven and the world by way of a facet of heaven. Its design and protocols are themed to a twisted reflection of that facet, and its character defined thereby. Okay, I can't believe I left my deck in the other room. I'm gonna go and grab it, and we're going to. I think we're just gonna draw. We're just gonna draw some cards, and we're gonna build this vein from that. Give me a second. Okay. All right. So I need, its core is going to be one of the major arcana. And then it will be influenced by, let's say, three minor arcana. Wait. Okay. Yeah, and remember, I'm not, like, this is the thing. I'm doing enough prep to get me started. It doesn't mean that I can't separately prep the other vein if I need to. I just need enough detail to give them a vein if that's what they want to do. Okay, all right. So I'm going to draw until I want a major arcana and 3 other cards. Okay, so hold on. Let me big cam this. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because this tarot deck is so fucking dark. So this is the Tower. It's the first card I drew. Okay. All right. And then let's see. We have the 5 of coins. See, now the camera likes me. 5 of coins. We have the 9 of wands. That's like a cool wolf on there. 9 of wands. And we have the 7 of cups. Which, again, sorry, the camera, it's super dark. There you go. 7 of cups. Aren't these beautiful? Okay. So let's look at what that means in this context. The vein's core aspect. Jesus, I can't believe we drew the Tower. All right, so the core aspect is the Tower. The Tower, of course. I think it's perfect. We know the Tower to be about loss. Change, cataclysm, danger, and epiphany. Change, cataclysm, danger, and epiphany. Which I've always thought sounded like a stripper name. Like if I were a stripper, I would name myself Epiphany. Epiphany Towers. Okay. And then supporting aspects. We got, in this order, the 5 of coins. The, was this the 9? 9 of wands. And the 7 of cups. Okay. All right. So I'll keep using the reference from the True Black from the tarot, because every tarot like guide gives you a little bit of different information. So the 5 of coins, I think, is a bad coins. I think it's one of the bummer ones. Let's take a look. Or they call them pentacles in this deck? Yeah, they do. Okay, the 5 of pentacles. Poverty, hardship, rejection, and sickness. Oof. Okay. So let's do this as like a past, present, and future. Right? So this will be like what you bring with you. This will be What will you find here? And then future. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not showing you what I'm writing. There you go. Now you can watch. And then future is what you'll take with you. Okay. Right. So this is probably the work of the diviner, right? Like, if he wasn't in the hands of the fool in verse, this information could be transmitted to the players by way of their former friend, Little Action, right? But Little Action is in the hands of the enemy. Little Action would be able to tell them all of this and let them like be prepared. So they could also hire a new diviner. Okay. The Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands. Wary, guarded, mistreated, and persevering. Wary, guarded, mistreated, and persevering. Okay, so those are the qualities of the place itself. Okay. Oops. No, don't open a file. Get out of your files. All right. Persevering. And then the Seven of Cups. Oh, yeah, sorry. The camera, if it shakes, it's because I'm bumping my table. The 5, 6, 7 of Cups. Fantasies, daydreams, illusions, and procrastination. Oh, that's cool. Okay, fantasies, daydreams, illusions, and what was the other one? Procrastination. So all in all, a pretty ominous read for this dungeon. And it's all governed by change, cataclysm, danger, and epiphany. Okay, all right. So this is the thing. You will go in and you will bring with you rejection, sickness, hardship, and poverty. Right? In the vein, you will find that it is wary, it is guarded against you, you will be mistreated, and you will have to persevere to survive the experience. And when you leave, wherever you go, you will bring with you only daydreams, illusions, and fantasy. So it has nothing of, let's interpret this, right? If this is a place, let's do some basic like interpretation. Go back to normal size, please. So this is a place where whatever goes in comes out changed. It is a place of deep loss, powerful alteration, a crucible of suffering that leads to epiphany, leads to revelation. It is a furnace of thought and feeling in which we burn and are remade. As we enter this place, we are burdened by our hardships physically and metaphysically. Our weakness is amplified. Our lack is made clear and obvious. Whatever we do not have, it is made patently real in this place. And then we find here hardship and brutality. It is an unforgiving place, guarded and defended, whose secrets are hidden by like hardship, right? Hidden by layers of defense, layers of fortification. Its treasure is vaulted. I guess vaulted means something else. Is buried in a vault of powerful fortitude. There you go. Okay. All right. And then if we are fated to leave, whatever we find here will be like dust in the wind. All treasure is false. All reality, all the gold and majesty we find bleeds away like a bad dream in the light of morning. Only the ephemeral may be withdrawn from this vein. Right? It doesn't mean that there's nothing here. It just means that what is here is illusory. It is delayed. It's not true in the sense that like a physical object is true. This is a place of false currency, all governed by, which is great because the change, the cataclysm, and the danger represent what you bring and what you find, right? The epiphany represents the ephemeral nature of fantasy and of daydreams as we come forth from this place, right? The reward of this place is not physical, but ephemeral, right? Emotional. Yeah. Cool. I like it. So this is the nature of this vein, right? It's a vein that is like an inverse, sort of inverse tower. It is a governed by change and epiphany. It demands these things and rewards you with fantasy, daydream, and illusion. And I absolutely think you're absolutely right, Garrulous Monolith. To the PCs, right? The personalization of this thing. This place will reflect the trauma, terror, and the haunting caused by the fall of the City of Brass. It will incorporate elements of that world wound, and in fact may well have been opened by the, what do we call it? Incidental psychic trauma, the unintentional phenomena, right? Opened by the unintentional phenomena of the destruction of that glorious city. There you go. So either if this is the if this is the vein created by the City of Brass breaking, it is a wide on the top concentrated funnel, right? If it's just the trauma of that thing, let's make two versions of it, right? Wide at the top. If they choose the if I have to use this as the if I have to use this as the one for the vein itself, right? Because we determined that that's how it works. The opportunity vein is top down, yeah. If it's wide at the top, this means that it's the general world wounding of the loss of the city as a thing, of the city as concept. If it is narrow at the top, represents a specific wound or psychic trauma related to that thing. A god, maybe like the pain and torment of the god of the city, or the like singular trauma, the singular negative impact on a specific smaller group or individual. Maybe the god of cities, came to the earth, came to the world to mourn, was lost to sadness, and committed suicide, opening this knife-thin vein, right? This is like the after effects. This is the general destruction of the city itself. This is a specific wound related to that thing. Yeah. Okay, cool, good. So let's see. We've got the crown. In this game, you come up with like the layer type, but that's fine. I don't need that. The anchor is an object that ties the nightmare realm to the material plane. This is like the kind of thing you could find in this place, right? This is determining treasure, right? For this thing. But like, what sorts of treasure can we find, right? The value, because one of our questions was, how does the energy manifest, right? So let's answer that. Manifestations. Is this on the same? No, I need this to be size 11. Beep. Okay, manifestations. These are, I guess, manifestation of reward or manifestation of value, right? What does the juice look like from this place? Okay, so let's talk about what kinds of things we could take away from this place, knowing that it is granting us predominantly traumatic epiphany that in the end is mere fantasy or illusion. So probably soporifics, euphorics, various narcotic aspects of the juice. This is a traumatizing sort of dream juice that grants visions and nightmares with deep, painful revelation. You learn, but you will fucking pay for it, right? Like if the Vein Hunters go in here and they suck up the juice from this place, it is flavored by the tower, right? By illusion, by mistreatment, and by hardship and sickness. So I bet you, if you get this juice and you shoot it or snort it or drink it or whatever, you will come out the other end having, now it's not tainted, it's just a specific flavor, right? Every vein has its own flavor of like drug juice. This particular vein will grant you a terrible epiphany, will open the dark eye of your mind to some horrific truth that you must persevere. It's probably a high that lasts like several days. It physically fucks you up, right? You get horribly sick for a week, and when you come out the other end, you have a vision that could be like a false epiphany, but could give you some truth, right? You come out the other end with like a terrible vision. So that's definitely, that's the sort of drug aspect. I think the juice can be manifested in a form of like fountain energy, useful particularly for illusion, deception, falsehood, disguise, and other kind of dream purpose that may contain a seed of true vision. So powering rituals, devices that allow you to scry, but they require at a cost to one's health. Okay. Objects of the world that are connected to loss and violence on a catastrophic scale. If there was a vein that contained a fountain-powered spiritual energy nuke that works by killing you with a dream sickness, this would be the one. Objects of the world are connected to loss and violence on a catastrophic scale without being physical. Neutron bombs, spiritual neutron bombs, right? Without being entirely focused on the physical. Riches of sentimental value, especially of plague victims or those who were not betrayed, those who are mistreated by the ones they love. It's a remarkably specific hypothetical. Yes. Hypothetical. Riches of sentimental value. What other kinds of things? Tools of divination and future telling. What other kinds of like physical objects might find their way from the world into this place, right? Things that are connected to fantasy, daydream, illusion. Objects of defense. Armor, shields, rings, amulets, and the like of protection. Yeah, right? Because there's that guardianship. This is a fortress. This place is about protecting yourself, and withdrawing into dreams. So yeah, definitely that stuff. Perseverance. Items that grant temporary HP, but nothing that heals. Yeah. And then things that are spiritually harmful to the mind or that sicken the body. Yeah. Cool. Okay, good. So this is the kind of shit that you're going to get out of this. This is the manifestation of value. The things, the way that the flavor of the juice, what you might use it for, and then objects you might find. Miscellaneous artifice of those things. Yeah. So Zandivia, that stairway was not being built by the Mara in the city. That stairway was being built by a rebellious angel. Yeah. So it's a bit different. Yeah. Zenji, what we're doing right now is we're creating basically an adventure environment for Court of Swords, and I do not even a little bit blame you for feeling in over your head. We're 111 episodes in to a very strange and complex world, and this is part of a especially strange and complex part of that strange and complex world. So it does not surprise me at all if you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? I'm okay with that. I hope you'll stick around. Okay. All right. So I suppose what I need to do now is kind of map this out, right? Because the players will be navigating this thing. So like, okay, let's talk about motivation. Motivation to enter. Why would you, and not like generally you, but like specifically the characters, right? Why would the PCs come to this place? It is a tunnel to the world. I can just capitalize that. The world, Zawarudo. And through it, they may be able to return. Right? They might also seeking knowledge. The various insights of this oracular nightmare may be of value to them, right? They have questions, and the vein may provide answers. They may wish to enter to pillage the riches of the place, seeking its treasure in the form of lost artifacts or in the juice itself. The vein, like distilleries, takes the ambient energy of the fountain and makes it something it was not before. So again, going back to that sort of chemistry, like physics, like approach, the scientific approach to understanding this, the world is equal parts of each tarot card, right? It's like the nitrogen, oxygen, trace elements mix of the universe, but it's spiritual. So the fountain's energy is made up of all of these elements that are spiritual, emotional, and physical elements. All of this stuff, the tower's energy, the Five of Cups' energy, that's all out in the universe, right? The veins act as an alembic to distill certain components of that stuff. So they pull the nitrogen out of the air. They pull the oxygen out of the air. They pull specific elements out of the earth. They are the centrifuge that separates the various blood cells of the universe into their specific things, right? So, you find a vein of a specific flavor because you are seeking certain things. So they might be they want to pillage the riches of the place. Magic items are relatively easy to create in the real world because the world is magic. It's full of magic energy everywhere. It's just these objects are lost. These are lost things. These are things that have fallen into the vein. They're physical items, right? Like if you find a +1 suit of chainmail in a vein, it's a real suit of +1 chainmail that came from somewhere in the real world, but it's lost. And it has been lost and drawn to this place according to the paradigm, right? The aspects of the vein. All right. So let's talk about locales, right? Nodes within the vein, right? These are basically rooms in the dungeon. So there is the threshold. There's a vein full of keys. Oh yeah. Wouldn't that be nightmarish? Right? Like if you drew the cards, if you were creating a vein, you could find a vein that is full of every lost ring of keys in the world. And they have fallen into this place, and they are hanging on an infinite hallway of locked doors, and you become lost trying to like unlock them and find the right keys. It's very, I mean, they all have this nightmarish quality to them on purpose, this oniric quality, but yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Plus it was pulled there because it's +1 chainmail. Exactly, because it was chainmail that was used to protect someone. All of the stories of the magic items will reflect that they were drawn here through these things, right? So, like, maybe someone suffered in poverty and hardship, living in a dangerous place. They were afraid they were going to be killed, so they saved up all their money and they hired a wizard, right? They were guarding themselves against mistreatment. They were persevering against their hardship life. They saved up their money. They hired a wizard to make them a ring of protection, right? That would protect them from physical harm. But the wizard lied, and the item didn't work the way it was promised, and the person, while protected from physical harm, died of an illness. Or maybe they died before they could collect, right? Maybe it was procrastination. They couldn't collect their ring and they died of a horrible sickness because of their bad life. And that's the cataclysm, right? And so that ring, left on a shelf somewhere in a wizard's lair, disappeared. The wizard forgot all about it, and it found its way into this vein, into the kind of cracks in the world. I mean, somebody said like, It's the fucking couch change between the cushions. So I'm not gonna answer canonically because I think that would be too easy. But I think probably a certain lost elephant statue made its way into a vein where some hunters dug it up and gave it as a gift to the king. Right? The things that we lose retain a resonance in the world, and they find their way down into dark places. Probably happens to people sometimes too. All right, so locales. The threshold, right? Like the entrance from the Court of the Void into the vein, right? We have the exit, right? The door out, the way out. The exit from the vein into the world. Now, remember, people are talking about Yoji's sort of story. I've mentioned before, Yoji isn't connected to this stuff. There's this other thing that is part of Yoji's story, right? This is the thing that's connected to the giants and their struggle. This is connected to the, what do we call it? The outer darkness. We don't know like really anything about this. We've seen it 2 or maybe 3 times in 112 episodes. So, all right. So nodes within the vein. We got a way in. We got a way out. There is probably some kind of like central chamber. The manifestation of the aspect writ largest and strongest. There are probably ancillary chambers, reflecting myriad sub-aspects of the vein. So in this case, there is probably the fortress, right, reflecting the defensive nature, the protective, the shell, right, the wary guardian. There is probably a locale of sickness, right? A plague house, a mass grave, a funereal, an abandoned morgue, choked with the dead. Choked with the dead from illness. Ugh. Right? There is probably a ghetto or other, like a ghetto, basically. A ghetto of impoverishment. Right? Reflecting the coins, right? The like poverty and hardship. There is probably a like an orrery or like a an oracle, an oracular temple, or I think we're gonna go with the like Delphi thing, right? An oracular chamber, physically straining, granting fever visions. Right, because like wasn't Delphi was built on a like a volcanic like vein, and so everybody in there got all fucking high and goofy on the fumes, and then spouted religious visions, right? So it's probably something like that, an oracular chamber. There's like a hall of mirrors, something like that. Showing epiphany, but also illusion, demanding the visitors understand which is which. Yeah. So again, this isn't, it's not like they're gonna enter into a place, a physical place that is like literally like a dungeon entrance. And then they will enter a strange, like the vein is not like a dungeon in the sense that it's tunnels connected to rooms. This is more like locations connected to one another. And then we want to show throughout visions and ghosts of, I put ghosts, but they're just illusions, of guilt, loss, and the rejection of guilt, loss, and rejection from the world of the people and concepts of the City of Brass. Right? It's flavored to be like the City of Brass. Yeah, it's a journey of the mind. It's like a fucked up acid trip where you go from place to place and the rules are all messed up. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that shit. Okay, so how does this vein break the rules? How does it break the rules? Hardship? Wariness? Okay, here we go. So these are like physical, like changes to the rules of Dungeons and Dragons within the vein. All perception and investigation checks are made with advantage. And everyone has a passive +5 to, or a +5 to passive perception. Right? Wariness as the manifestor there. Okay. All right. What else? How do we mechanize this shit? Hardship and sickness. I think, let's see. Rolls to resist disease and poison are made at disadvantage. Okay. All right. Yeah, right. Sickness, rejection, hardship. I think that's fine. Fantasies, daydreams, illusion, and procrastination. Okay. So this is good. Okay, check this out. In combat, what are they called? Held action? Delayed action? What is it called when you like, you take your action later? Ready action, that's right. Taking the ready action, taking your ready action grants like maybe temp hit points or advantage. Let's see, grants advantage on whatever action is held. Now, I won't explain this to the characters, right? If somebody readies, I want them to determine this themselves, and don't tell them, chat. If they procrastinate, if they ready their action, when they make that action, I'll be like, cool, take advantage. And they'll be like, why? And I'll be like, don't worry about it, just do it. And then spells that grant extra actions or initiative, spells or abilities. This is the flip side. Extra actions or bonuses to advantage do not function. So bonuses to advantage, bonuses to initiative. Come on, Adam. Use your brain. I was ahead of myself. Whoa, God. Initiative. There it is. There's the word. Now I can make a little comment, such as Berg's. What's that ability called? I don't think anyone has haste anyway. A Berg. It's a barbarian ability. Yeah. It's called Berg. Feral Instinct. Okay. This is tough though because it really fucks up. Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. So action search. That's what I was thinking of. But I was just gonna say, but we don't have anybody doing action search. Action surge. That's my name. Okay, they don't work down here. It's harsh, but that's how it goes. Okay. Let's find some more advantages. We got advantage, disadvantage, advantage, disadvantage. Let's give them one more like thing. Speed increases are fine, right? This is about holding or not holding. Yeah, movement speed is fine. Fantasies, daydreams, illusions. Let's do something about that. Illusion spells are resisted at disadvantage. And when they're cast... Yeah, something like that. Oh, and yeah, totally. Bonuses to deception. Yeah. Any deception. It's funny because it's wariness, but it's also illusions. I like any deception check is made at advantage. But yeah, so, this is good because those don't interact because deception is countered by insight and there's no insight bonus, just perception and investigation. Yeah, cool. It's easy to lie down here. That's really sick. I like that. Okay, cool. So this is the phenomena of the vein. I'm going to copy this as a separate doc in my my journal because it's important to have it separate and like aside. So rules changes in the vein. Only I can see and edit this. And I'll put it in my GM notes. There we go. Okay. So now I can have this open when they're in the vein so I know what stuff, my secret GM notes. Okay. Alrighty. So let's move that to the Court of the Void. Okay. Perfect. So I'll try to remember all that stuff. We got some nodes. And let's assemble these. Let's assemble these nodes. Okay, don't worry. I'll make this font a lot bigger. Text. All right. And then I'll just this is draw.io. This is my little map. And let's flavor this guy green because I want to. Okay. All right. So we have the threshold. Nope. And then we have what do we call it? The way out. Okay. Now remember, this is all metaphysical. So you can't, once they cross the threshold, they cannot go back to the void. They have to go through, and then after the way out, they'll get to choose, right? The world or the Court of the Void. They cannot go back. It's a one-way passage with 2 exits on the other end. And then there's like a loop, right? So, Court of the Void into the threshold, and then the way out back to the court or to the world. And I should, here, I'm gonna make this look nicer. Style, text, how do I, oh, a line, here we go. There we go, that's easier to read. Okay, all right, so in between all this crap is, let's call this, let's do the central chamber, the heart of the vein. No, paste that, please. There we go. Okay. This needs to move, so these are all lined up, because otherwise I will hate myself forever. Okay, and then we need some other locales within this place. We need the fortress. We need the plague, the mass grave. I'm going to place that here, I think. Okay, the mass grave, the fortress, the ghetto, the oracle. Because you can call a place an oracle, right? Is it possible they can come back later, or will the way out stop re-entry? If they go back into the Court of the Void, they can get back in, but if they go out into the world, they can never return through this vein, right? Because it's a one-directional travel. Okay, so the mass grave, we also have the oracle. The ghetto. And fortress, ghetto, the oracle, the Hall of Mirrors. They can get back by other means. Yeah, I mean, there's other ways to get back into the Court of the Void. Yeah. Okay. So the heart connects, I think, to the fortress. The fortress connects to the way out. Yeah, everything's all. I'll lay it out. I'll lay it out properly in a second. Don't worry. Okay, and then what's like the first thing? What's the first thing that they would encounter? I think we just go for like into the mass grave. And these are like 1- or 2-way streets depending on... Where's the other end of this? Oops, where's the other end of this line? Because I want it to go both. I want it to go both ways. There we go. Yeah, and I still need to add the... Yeah. There it is. Okay. So we'll make that. No, this should be two directional, I think. Okay. Is each space a puzzle or just a series of vignettes? They're locales. They're places. They represent nodes within the vein, some of which you can travel from one to the other. Some you can, yeah, some you can travel. And I think we need the fortress. The fortress is protecting the way out. Nice. Okay. Cool. So there's our map. I think that should be I mean that's enough for like multiple sessions. And then I guess like yeah, the encounters might be psychological, exactly. So stakes questions like what is required to return to the world? What specific price or cost does the vein demand? Is there a way back from the Hall of Mirrors? Yeah, I guess you'd have to go back to the Oracle. Oh, then the Oracle can't leave. Okay, so let's put a one-directional route there. There you go. Yeah. Okay, are all these lined up? It's bugging me. I wish there was like an auto-align tool. Oop, no, get out of here. Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, there we go. So this is the flow of the opportunity vein, or the aorta claim. Yeah. Okay, so let's detail these nodes a little bit. So the threshold, the least flavored section of the vein, wherein its nature is still unclear. The entrance to the mine doesn't reveal the riches or dangers within. Protected by something? Protected by the ambient danger of the fountain's energy. It may be easy for someone not of the Court of the Void to bypass, but may represent a danger for those native to this place. Juice elementals, yeah, right. The central chamber, probably a shadowy reflection of the temple plaza in the City of Brass, though twisted and mangled by the vein's sick remembrance. Okay. The fortress, a literal fortress, guarded by spirits and manifestations of defensive. A gatehouse for the exit from this place. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Kool-Aid Man's a juice elemental. Oh, yeah. Okay. The locale of sickness, right? The mass grave, a horrific place of death and decay, necrotic energy, and the undead. Gross. Ghetto of impoverishment. Okay, so like essentially a neighborhood populated by impoverished pseudo-aware, like fountain reflections of people. So this is like the part where you can go and like talk to NPCs. Okay. The oracular chamber, a semi-natural grotto in which visions may be granted, tended by a manifestation, ghost thing, acts as a toll booth keeper for the truths beyond. Okay, good. Hall of Mirrors, a maze of self-reflection. Maze of self-reflection and falsehood. Illusory images, but also feelings and manifestations. Good, good, good. Okay. And then, yeah, throughout, visions and ghosts of guilt, loss, rejection from the world of people and the concept of City Brass. The Way Out, a very literal pair of doorways into the world. Doorways back out of the vein. Guarded by the fortress. Demanding a price, but granting the essence of the vein to those who pass beyond it. Cool. All right. There you go. So, like, obviously, and this is funny because the most D&D stuff is coming up with, like, monsters and crap and, like, dungeon rooms to fight them in. And there'll probably be some fighting, but I almost, like, that's the part I almost, like, care the least about. So I probably won't sit down and do that right now. I probably won't, like, pick out specific monsters. I'll probably come up with a list of, like, random encounters and then just do kind of what I feel like fits in the moment. But I love this kind of prep because it's so, like, broad and conceptual. And I hope that it kind of shows you that there's more than one way to build encounters for a role-playing game, even if that game is a game like Dungeons and Dragons. This stuff might not come into play right off the bat with Court of Swords, right? Like, I did this prep as a response to the players exhibiting some interest in going somewhere or doing something. So we'll see, right? We'll see when they get there or if they get there at all. But I'm really excited about seeing kind of what that looks like. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for coming and hanging out, everybody, and for checking out this prep for Court of Swords. It's all very fluffy. It's all very weird. But I think that's a thing. I think that's part of what is the charm of Court of Swords. And I love getting to sit down and do these streams where we dig into the minutia of the cosmological truth of the universe. Yeah. So thanks for joining me. If you're interested, check out my YouTube channel, check out my VODs. You can find prep for the universe, prep for earlier stuff. There's a lot of this that is that's available out there. And if you missed the beginning of this video and you're watching it on Twitch, I'll try to put it up on YouTube before the next episode, which will be episode 112. Yeah. So thanks, everybody. I think that'll do it. I think that'll do it for our GM prep for the Opportunity Vein, Court of Swords. We'll see you next time.